Welcome to the Heroic Roundtable, a Heroic Round Side Quest. It's a recap show where we revisit the latest episode of our actual play podcast and dive into the deeper side of tabletop storytelling. So rattle your dice if you're a roller. This isn't just a recap. This is the Heroic Roundtable. Okay, guys, what surprised you most this last session?
LS getting jumped.
LS
Yeah,
did
I knew
get
it was
jumped.
sketch, but I didn't know he was gonna get like shanked prison style, and that
He
was pretty
did
cool.
get shanked.
I'll go the opposite, and I was surprised Brandon didn't expect that. I was surprised LS didn't expect it.
You idiot. You fool.
I think I was thrown off because of the boots in the tree. Like I knew there were rogues and people around, so I was expecting something
He
like
was
that.
seeing
You
symbols,
like they came saying, "Hey, come check this out," and you're like, "Yeah."
but they lured him with his secret ways.
Yeah. In
Which lends
retrospect, I
trust.
didn't really think about it.
Yeah, I was shocked you got no. And that's a good example of metagaming.
It is. So one of the things that I rarely do is I rarely do passive perception or sense motive checks.
Yeah.
You know, like where I'm rolling sense motive on this side of the screen just to try to make sure that I'm not giving away that something's going. This was one where I did do a passive roll and failed. But I was doing it specifically because I think if I had said to you, roll sense motive, I think it would have tipped it off and made it not as impactful of a moment.
I think that's a great use of passive
And
rolling.
and I have to call out, this is how Brandon likes to play.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Impetuous.
Like he'll just do what LS is a good representation of Brandon playing the way he wants to play outside of like checks. Like, let's just roll this thing. Let's just role play. So good on you, Brandon.
If I never roll a dice in a session, it's a good
Speak on that, Brandon. What do you mean if you never roll a dice in a session?
No, it's a little tongue in cheek, but I do enjoy the way that we role play sometimes is very much just conversation, and there's not a roll and a check. It's more just like a vibe check, right? It's if what I say sounds good and it's like going along, then we just kind of roll with it. And maybe there'll be like a supplemental check in there to see how well it does. But I kind of enjoy that. And maybe it's like a throwback to us being little kids and like playing on the bus or like trying to fit D&D into a recess session when we didn't have dice. And it's more just like the imagination. And yeah, so I think it's kind of fun. And it lets me be that like lets my intrusive thoughts win, right? And I just kind of roll with it. And I think it's a weakness, but also a character strength, right? Like, because you know that I'm going to do that kind of stuff, right? We've played together for long enough that it's
100%.
like, yeah, it's pretty apparent. And it, like you pointed out, Zach, like everybody at the table knows I'm going to do it, right? But I enjoy it. And it's like a fun way to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's awesome. I actually love that you called that out. It wasn't until this last year that I actually heard the rule of cool idea. You know, this idea that like if it sounds really cool, then as a DM, like I'll just let it happen, or like because it seems so cool. I think there's a little bit of that rule of cool in what we're talking about here, which is that me as a DM, I weigh much higher than a dice roll the role playing that's happening across the table from me. If somebody is showing up and embodying a character and pushing for a specific outcome in a creative and, you know, fully realized way, I'm much more interested in helping that succeed. Does that make sense? Like I'm more influenced by that. It's different than you just saying like, well, I charm the guard, you know, or I charm the person. If you're like, oh, this is what I say to the guard, and you're actually trying to charm me, I guess it works, right? In real life.
It's the role play in role-playing game.
Yeah, good point.
And I think that's what's good about our group is that we kind of understand that from a player to a DM situation. Yeah. And it allows people who want to role play have quote unquote power come out in their character that way.
It's cool.
Wait, it's roll like ROLE? Holy cow, it's not ROLL?
No. Roll.
He was today years old when that became clear. That's funny.
But that's also not for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like if somebody if you want to play a character that's outside of your comfort zone, that's totally okay to just roll the dice. That's what the skill check is there for, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like I'm fairly introverted, but I like playing outside of like what I would normally do. It's like a form of escapism.
Yeah.
But then like hearing that and I go, okay, we got drama club president over here. Like he's naturally going to be a lot better at that than I am. So am I playing it at a disadvantage? And so for that, I'm like, I like the ROLL play aspect because I'm just as likely to roll a 20 as he is, right?
Yep.
To be clear, I wasn't the drama club president.
We'll let you guess.
You were.
Leave it in the comments who you think was
Yeah.
the drama club president.
That's right. No, I actually, and I'd be interested to get Zach and Brandon's perspective on John as an outside perspective, because I don't think you've been at a disadvantage. I actually think you show up really well when you role play, and I think you get things done and achieve stuff a lot with Mac. I think Mac is very charming.
Like you know that I can't award XP, right?
My outside perspective of John feels the most consistent player when it comes to it. John's a good baseline to like build like a session around, like not necessarily knowing.
Build a whole campaign around me, baby.
Yeah, freaking Simon the Prophet. So yeah, I don't think there's a failing in that. I think it's a good like consistency that's brought, and not saying it's a bad thing or like everybody has to play like that.
Well, thank you.
I would say that if you look at the wave files or the audio forms, Zach and I talk more often, right? We are more prone to interrupt people or talk over people. But when you're playing your character, typically you don't just say, I do this and then roll. There is like a flair to it, or you have a charming thing to say when you're doing it. So even though you're not doing it as often as Zach and I are, when you are doing it, you are embodying that piece.
So if you're introverted like me, there's power in being quiet.
Yep.
And when you speak, people listen.
Well,
yeah.
you
When you,
feel
say
very
when you say
intentional.
less, what you say means more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's power in that too. That's interesting.
Yep.
Cool. Well, can I shift to some other questions here?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to LS. So we were just talking about this, but what went through your mind? This is from Raven Queen fan. She said, what went through your mind when you realized who had ambushed you?
A dagger. No,
That was through your side.
my side, yeah. Honestly, I was like, I can't believe I didn't think about this as an option, because everybody that we'd met so far had been like very transparent, right? Like either for good or for bad. Like there hasn't been a lot of subterfuge or anything in the campaign, or like with our NPCs that we've interacted with that I'm aware of.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so, and I have been playing LS as a very like open and trusting character, right? Like not a lot of like checking and like scheming. Well, there's scheming, but like a charming, like straightforward personality. Because it's kind of it is the country, and in LS's mind, it's like these are country bumpkins and they don't know any better. So like, I don't need to try and be sneaky because they're too stupid to actually get anything out of it. They're just a bunch of bullfrog bitches.
That's great. I appreciate that. I appreciate that more than you know. Okay, let me ask this question coming to you, Mac. This is from a listener at Tobeans the Rogue. Wants to know, Mac, do you decide on the songs to sing on the spot, or do you have a list?
I don't have a list. Sometimes it just strikes you, like Lady Gaga.
Mm-hmm.
What did you just say?
Gaga.
Lady Gaga. And other times it's inspired by, current events in the game, like Callista. She's toxic, baby.
I like that.
But no, I don't have a list of things planned. Maybe I should.
Well, and Tobeans had a follow-up. Do you regret not choosing Bard as your class?
maybe there's room for multi-class. I don't know.
Ooh,
We'll see.
down
No,
the
I've never
road.
actually played a bard, so
Dude,
we'll see.
might
Do
suit
it.
you. It might suit you, my friend. Okay, so going over to Flavius, we had a question from Potion Mom. Potion Mom wonders, Flavius, what's your first impression of Orsic of Yorl?
I'm immediately sick of his shit. I don't know. I don't know what came over me, but maybe it was just the embodiment of Flavius trying to be the prim, proper choir boy for the church, and to see this guy in tattered robes. He was a part of a silent brotherhood. He came off in this condescending nature, which is funny because I'm pretty sure Flavius comes off similarly, just the other side of the coin in terms of condensation and condensation.
Condensation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's condensation.
Really sweaty, wet vibes. But I don't know. There's you do such a good job introducing these NPCs. I don't know how other people feel, but the way you present, you immediately are polarized to them. Like,
you either love them or you hate them.
yeah, immediately
There's not
off
like
the
a middle
bat,
ground.
which is good because then it gives you an opportunity. Like, I think a great is Landon Thorne. Like, he came off immediately. I hated that guy. Like, what are you doing, you little pompous jackass?
Yeah.
And I think that adds a lot of development. So my immediate reaction, I always try to go with when I get introduced to NPCs, and maybe it's not the good thing or the bad thing for Flavius, but my immediate was like, oh, this guy's annoying. He thinks he knows everything. I'm sure there's probably truth in what he speaks. So I love those type of NPCs because it's an immediate foil for Flavius to play off of. Like,
cool.
I'm interested, but I don't want to give him the time of day, but I do want to know what he's talking about.
Sure.
So,
Well, and on that point, the follow-up question from Potion Mom was, and secondary, if Orsic gives you the ultimate answer he's been talking about, what do you think it's going to be?
Out of game, probably what Flavius wouldn't want to admit is the truth of the church. Because we've already seen some things of like what they've done to influence this region. Like a couple sessions back, Flavius had a big realization where he had to figure out like these documents have basically showed like, hey, the things that you like have known aren't really true. And then if you can go back further, when you think that you learn of, I forgot his name.
It's okay. Talking about Damon Greenman or Nibs?
Not Nibs. What's it?
Virgil Tibbets.
My bad.
That's all right.
Going back. So
Your valet, he forgives you.
Virgil
forgive
Tibbets,
you.
him being a part of an assassin inquisitor group that Flavius has never heard about. Then all of a sudden I hear about what they happened with the Green Man and everything that came in and like church's influence on this region that we're now trying to figure out. And then now this Ursic of Yule who says he has information and the answer. It's kind of like Flavius's immediate reaction is like, no, but kind of want to know what he has to offer.
Yeah, I like that. Cool. So I do have thank you for answering these questions, guys. I do have a final group question. This one is actually just for me, and I am asking this because it's been quite polarizing in my social media posts as I've been, joking around or talking about being a dungeon master and doing dungeon master things. This is the question for you. How much should a dungeon master or game master shape the story versus letting the dice decide? Right now there's a lot of discussion and feeling around fudging dice rolls or about, kind of like narrative control, railroading. What do you guys feel like that? What's your opinion about that?
My immediate reaction is my wish for people who play tabletop or role playing is to experience a moment where a singular dice roll will make or break a campaign or a character death or a hit. And that is really where I think a lot of the magic comes from when it's these moments of like, you have to roll above a 16. If you don't, this person lives and they're going to kill you. Or there's a save that you have to make if you don't do it, or a skill check. Those moments when there is like a dice roll and leaving those moments up to RNGesus, that random probability feels so good. And I think a lot of people are really afraid of that. So my initial reaction is like, maybe in the little things where it doesn't really matter in order to move the storyline. Like, hey, if you really need your characters to spot this person, give them a couple opportunities to do it. Or when it's these make or break moments where the character is living and dying, I think living by the dice is a lot more exciting to me.
I agree with Zach. I think nothing feels more deflating to feel like you're on rails and you're just showing up every week to somebody's personal story. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, cool. Like, doesn't matter what I do. So why am I here? Kind of a vibe. That being said, like improv is key to Dungeons and Dragons. And I think that's a skill everyone needs to develop. So like, yeah, like Zach says, live by the die. If you roll a 1 and in a critical moment, like, dang, but also your character's not everything. Like you can make a new character. Sometimes when you die, you wake up in Baitor or whatever, like Baitor. Is that right?
You're right.
So like, yeah, it's cool. And then if you're a DM and you do decide to fudge the dice rolls, which I would say do very, very sparingly, don't let the players know.
Yeah.
Because that'll make them kind of like, oh, this sucks. Like, why am I even here?
Yep.
We're here to create the story with you, like not just listen. And we've
But
had
it's
that
mine.
experience with
This is my time.
No.
You guys are here to
No.
listen to me.
All right, Goonies.
I just
Goonies
kidding.
never say die.
It's our time down here. I appreciate that, John. What do you think?
As a DM, I've definitely fudged rolls
Son of
for sure.
Ooh, you slut.
And some of that is inexperience, like when because CRs are not real, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're having like a challenge rating,
Mm-hmm.
You might put your group up against something, but you've given them items that are way overpowered or something that it's just not going to be an entertaining fight, right? It's going to be a complete bloodbath one way or the other. So that's part, I think, of a DM's discretion is, and especially as a new DM, that like, oh, this monster's too powerful, or this monster is not powerful enough, or this encounter isn't powerful enough or challenging enough. So there are absolutely times when you should fudge the dice as a DM, and maybe as you gain more experience on what that looks like, hopefully that decreases over time, right? But I absolutely think that fudging dice can help drive the story.
Yeah.
But you need to be really careful, like John was saying, that it doesn't end up just being on rails.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were talking about earlier, where the rule of cool, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes that can play into it too. And even if it's something that maybe the player wouldn't have hit, or maybe, somebody does something incredible and it like almost killed the bad guy, for the story, does it make more sense to just let the bad guy die then versus the next round, right? It's all sorts of flavor, right? Like in how that works.
Sure.
That being said, nothing is more infuriating than when you spend all of everyone else's turn coming up with like an elaborate plan to do something, and it works in the rules, right? And then nothing comes out of it, or it ends up being like a nothing. And sometimes that happens, but when it becomes a consistent problem, when your players can't get anywhere or they can't think outside of the box, for me, that's when it becomes not fun anymore, right? When you can't use your imagination to try and do things a little bit differently, or, I mean, there's magic in the world, right? So let there be magic at the table too.
Man, that would look good on a shirt. Let there be magic at the table. I like that. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, I think for me, I'm trying to think in this campaign, so a Wizards Folly, I'm trying to think if there's been any fudge moments.
Don't tell us.
I know you don't want to know, but like I want to know. I'm trying to just like do an inventory. Because I don't, like, I can honestly say I don't think there have been. Like I say I do meme stuff on my account on, socials where I'm talking about changing roles or not tracking hit points or doing different things. Like that's not actually how I DM.
Yeah.
And part of it is because it's conversation starter, but at the end of the day, like I really do try to let the dice do the talking, and I'm not afraid of a dice roll changing things drastically. If you think of the last campaign we played that isn't recorded, but there was a villain, a BBEG called the Centurion, who I was planting seeds for the final showdown with the Centurion for months, maybe a year. Like you guys it was a time traveling campaign. There was all kinds of cool things happening. It was very like meta. There was a universe that was super cool. You guys were hunting the Holy Grail across like all these different timelines. And you had a final showdown with the Centurion, who was somebody who had the spear that had stabbed Christ. That was like it was like this weapon, right? And you instant killed him in the first round.
John killed him.
John, it was a gunslinger from Wild West times, and instant killed him in the first round. And it's like, I didn't fight it. I'm not like afraid of that. It doesn't.
That would have felt so like unearned.
Sure.
To like roll 2 20s in a row
and then be
and then
like
an 18
it
and
blocked
be like,
on his helmet or something.
It doesn't
You shattered his magic helmet, but
he's got a helmet. He can't be critical.
Yeah. Like, no.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. See, because I think part of it is like, I could see when I was younger or earlier as a dungeon master, I can see much more the fear of like, oh, I need you to stay in this little box. And if you don't stay in this box, I'm going to really freak out. I can't have you go outside of it. But I don't really feel those fears anymore. I think I'm more willing to like let's dance, like the dance of the game and the collaboration and the back and
forth. You gotta like follow your players through the sandbox.
Yeah. And I think that I like the sound of my own voice. So sometimes I think I can influence the narrative so much because I'm so excited and I want to keep talking. I want the NPCs to talk. I've noticed in our recordings as I go back and listen, there's lots of times where you're about to say something and I cut you off to say something again. And so I'm constantly cutting you guys off. I'm constantly, speaking and wanting to say more. And I can see how that makes me more like an active player rather than a referee. And I can see in myself the need to like step back and give more freedom on that side of the table so that it's, more created by you, if that makes sense. So,
yeah.
Cool. Any final thoughts on this topic?
If you fudge dice, you shouldn't play D&D.
Is that what? There's no room for you.
There's no room.
There's no room for this.
There's a use case for like personal vendettas. Let's say you've hit on a player in the group and they've spurned your advances. Fudge the dice to punish them in game.
There it is. Oh my gosh.
There's your pro tips.
This is just normal D&D stuff.
Just toxic DM tips.
I think Brandon said it in a good way. Like, communicate at the table as a DM of like what the expectations are in terms of like if you're gonna fudge the dice or not, and then as a DM, be ready to plan if it's too easy or too hard. Like, is this encounter going to be too easy or too hard? Do I remove an entity? Do I add an entity? Do I reduce the damage on it? So,
I didn't say that.
Wait, but,
well, first of all, if a player fudges the dice, that's just cheating.
Oh, no, yeah.
If I don't know about it, it doesn't hurt me.
Yeah.
20.
But
natural?
You shouldn't. I don't think you should tell the player. If you're the DM and you're fudging rolls, you should not tell the players.
Agreed.
That.
You should not.
That's something that they don't need to know.
Yeah, you never should tell them.
Yeah. I think that causes heartache where there doesn't need to be. But yeah, as you're learning and what style works best for you, it's a tool that DMs can use, and just don't tell the players.
I think on that thing, quick DM tip, or speaking of tools that DMs can use, a quick DM tip, in my opinion, is when there is a high stakes roll and you're not afraid of fudging it, bring it outside of bring it outside of the screen.
That feels so much more fun.
It's so fun when you're like, okay, this is going to happen right here. Everybody watch. We know we have to roll over this number for this outcome. If we don't, this horrible thing happens. Yeah. That's an awesome moment. Like, that always brings everybody
Bust
in.
out the big die.
Yeah. The excitement is there. Like, if everybody's standing up, like, it's a cool moment. And so I think that's like such a fun thing that is just a great way to interact that way.
Yeah. And I love that for players too. Like, it's a critical moment in a battle. Like, even as the DM, kind of breaking that fourth wall and being like, you need to roll over a 12 for this.
Yes.
And then the rest of the players are so engaged on what that one player's doing. And we're like, 13.
Yeah,
like, it's the best feeling ever.
Well, and
well, not ever.
It feels like, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel like you can influence the roll.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you can move that dice
So
with
some
your
chaos
belief.
magic.
Do you know what I mean? Like with your
Arcade
like,
cards.
we're gonna build.
There's times where I've called a 20 and rolled a 20.
That's true. I think
Where
I agree with
I'm
that.
like,
So-
I need a 20
Right now, he's gonna call 6.
Oh, it's a 2.
Okay, see, he didn't believe it in his heart.
It didn't.
There it is. He
lacks
didn't believe it in
faith.
his heart. Okay. Well, thank you for talking through that with me, guys. Any deep, dark questions for me before we move on?
Yeah, I think you kind of answered it when I see how you engage with socials. I know it's for conversation.
Yeah,
So,
that's a hard thing because I know you guys are all following
Yeah.
and seeing like the shiz that I'm putting on there, and I call it shiz with love. I actually love creating social content that's funny, engaging, whatever, controversial, but like
It's wild to see some of the comments.
they
People
get
get so mad.
They get heated.
I don't
But
know how
like
many times
I
I've been
don't.
called
stuff.
gay.
Yeah, don't take it so seriously, and also know that like I'm not turning natural ones into natural 20s back here. I'm not like fudging all the rolls. I'm not doing all that. It's just not how I play. But it's fun to pretend on social media for the kicks and giggles.
Roleplay.
I'm role playing.
Acting.
I'm role playing as a terrible DM.
None of this
So-
is real.
Cool. Okay, well, that is it for this episode of the Heroic Roundtable. Thanks for hanging out with us. Remember to submit your questions so that we can feature it in future episodes. And if you're enjoying our content, don't forget to flank that subscribe button or cleave to leave a review. It helps the show grow and eventually will allow us to afford more pickle-flavored snacks for Zach.
Send your dill my way.
Well, That's
we didn't
right.
get we
He
didn't
wants
get the
your
little
dill.
grapefruit candies.
We
Oh,
didn't buy
man.
more, but
I
we
left
need
them at
to.
home.
Well, until next time, remember to live heroic, and if you must die, die historic.